What is going on? Lone Chemist Podcast, episode 32.
It's been that many?
32, man.
Damn.
My name is Johnny. I'm the Lone Chemist, and with me, I have a return guest, but you see him in the flesh this time. Say hi to the people. This is Jason Corey from the Grab Program. He's a tourist who likes long walks on the beach. I don't know if you're a tourist or not. I was just saying that because I'm a tourist.
Hi, people.
So Jason came on, I think it was
Months ago, honestly.
Well, no, it was almost a year ago. He came on end of July of 2018.
Yeah, seriously. It was right after we had gotten dinner, and then we were going to talk about video games in a podcast.
Yeah, well, not we were going to. We did. So
yeah, I mean,
we completed the action. We're
yeah,
not.
I'm narrating it.
Well, dude, no narration needed. Or introductions.
Okay.
So Jason came on. I think it was like episode I want to say like six or 7 or 8 or something like that. But we just did an audio podcast and posted after the fact before I actually learned how to do live streaming stuff. So
yeah, I feel like it was kind of a group therapy session about how much we both love The Last of Us.
I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of fair.
Yeah, I mean, I still love The Last of Us. It's great.
To nerd out about this for a little bit, The Last of Us, one of the most cinematic games probably ever made. I will say I've revisited it twice, and the second time in the playthrough, the gameplay does kind of make the pace feel a little bit slower the second time you play it, but the story is so goddamn good, you just you don't care.
Yeah, I feel conflicted about it a bit. Is it just that the gameplay is not necessarily aging as well? Because I feel like that's kind of almost like a after the fact criticism people like to give about The Last of Us. Oh, well, to be honest, the gameplay is kind of just okay. Maybe it doesn't really hold up as well as you think. And I wonder if that's just a criticism because the story was just so good or the game is just so good. People look for reasons retroactively.
Well,
on it.
But I think there's also that, but also I think the fact that the gameplay not being, you're playing the game for the most of the game. You're not watching cinematics. So it's I feel like when you play that game, the replayability is kind of low for the actual gameplay. For experiencing the story, it's
very high.
But yeah, I love The Last of Us. But
yeah, and I think the other thing is even if the gameplay doesn't necessarily hold age as perfectly as the story does, it was still really fun to play. Even in my subsequent playthroughs, it's not so hard on the medium difficulties that it's hard to get through, but it's really enjoyable. I
agree.
It's a resource conservation type game, but it actually balances it about as well as you could ask for. But yeah. I guess that's not really the subject of this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I was paying attention, but I'm actually tweeting this out right now just to make sure people know that we're
wave to the people.
Hey. Join us, friends! ! Smiley face. Tweet.
Well, did you need the smiley face to?
Well, you know what? They have to see that I'm happy. Okay, so that's just that's the way it is.
I'm sure from that they'll be like, "Wow, look at how happy he is." There's a smiley.
Yeah,
face.
There's no chance he's a fucking lonely bastard in graduate school. Is there alcohol in this?
Is that why you're the lone chemist?
Funny story about that. So, I picked the lonely chemist because I'm a very self-deprecating guy. I'm not actually fucking lonely. I have a beautiful girlfriend. What's up, babe? But I did the lonely chemist to be an asshole and funny about it. But then I realized I feel like lonely and chemist are kind of synonymous in some ways.
Kind of like what we talked about a bit earlier off air. It almost kind of is an ironic name based on the mental health issues of graduate school.
It's rampant, dude. But anyway, so we'll talk about that on another podcast.
Yeah.
We're getting the tangents here, but
yeah, maybe later.
But yeah, so I truncated the lonely chemist to the lone chemist because, I wanted to truncate it where it was so my friend Mike Penda has a logo design company. He made my logo and my layouts and stuff.
Do you call him the Panda?
Yeah, we just call him Panda. not the Panda. He hasn't graduated to that title yet, but he made my logo for me because he was being nice. He's I remember you this is your name. I'd love to give you the logo for this. And then he already gave me the logo, and then after the fact, I decided to change the name. So I changed the name to the Lone Chemist, and then I realized the Lone Rangers are my favorite things. So Lone Ranger, Lone Chemist, movie nerddom, TV nerddom, that kind of thing.
If he got that logo back to you moderately quickly, did you make a Panda Express joke? I'm sorry, I have to do it.
I need you to leave. Anyway. All right, so we're going to be, we're talking about a lot of shit because, we're assholes and we can talk about anything for 60 minutes. But basically, cheers. We're going to be talking about a movie that we just finished about, 10 minutes ago, honestly. We watched Drive with Ryan Gosling and Carey Mulligan from 2011.
We both seen it before, but
yeah, I've seen Drive. I mean, I hadn't watched it in years, but I've probably seen it like 15 times or some shit.
That was actually, in all honesty, the second time I've seen it. I saw it once, like around the time it came out, and loved it, and then watching it again made me realize how little of it I actually remembered, except just the imagery. I remember the imagery. I remembered the bomb-ass soundtrack. It was awesome.
Yeah, so let's go through the entire, the movie.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so, just logistically, the film is based on a book, which I forget who, it might be Tim Tharp, I forget, but it escapes me, but
insert guy here.
Insert guy here.
Yeah.
But yeah, based on a book, and I remember reading a little bit of the book, like when I was bored one day. I never got around to finishing it, but it was actually pretty good from what I read. But like the movie, I feel like I only read maybe 5 or 6 chapters of the book, but like the movie does a great job of elaborating the premises in the book, where it's like, you kind of feel like it's a surreal kind of world you're actually experiencing from what I read. And so like to have that really washed out color palette, to have like the pink, like cursive text, to have really genuinely jarring soundtrack choices, and also the juxtaposition of like very gentle moments versus violent and chaotic moments. It paints such a weird picture of the film in your mind when you see it. And I just... Drive is one of those movies that like you watch it once and you know you're gonna remember how you felt about that movie for a long, long time.
Yeah,
because like you said, like you hadn't seen it in forever, and it shook you, right? Like it was.
Yeah, like I didn't remember too much of the specific details of the plot, and maybe like that. The point is that the plot didn't necessarily matter. It was just like I remember how it made me feel, just from the soundtrack to the imagery to the cinematography, and I was actually just having a thought about that too, like. As awesome of a movie and as surreal of a book it probably was, could you imagine that if it probably got into the wrong hands and didn't have like quite as good of actors, like that movie would not have worked out as well, because they would have been like, car movie,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was thinking about that too. Drive is such a simple premise, but from it comes a multitude of different emotional reactions and capabilities that the filmmakers show. Like, I mean, if you look at the film on paper, a mysterious getaway driver gets caught up with some bad people. Like, that's something we've seen 1,000,001 times.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, but, like, the way the film is actually made and the way that you actually experience it is so unique. Like I remember seeing that film, and, I mean, like, it's almost visually incomparable. Like, obviously there are visual people like Emmanuel Lubezki, who filmed Birdman and Gravity and The Revenant. And, like, those kind of filmmakers, they have a certain style that shakes you. I think... Nicolas Refn, obviously he's not a cinematographer, but he's like the director. All of his films have this really like surreal neon, like grotesque yet really beautiful aesthetic that they kind of
postmodern, maybe.
I don't know about postmodern.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. Like, it's so jarring because like I think the main word for his filmmaking is juxtaposition. Because I mean, think about it. So let's talk about like a couple of specific aspects of the film. Then we'll go through it. Like,
sure.
I think one of the most beautiful scenes in the entire film, and spoilers, by the way. Spoilers.
There's like a statute of limitation on spoilers, though, right?
Dude, people fucking chirp me. My Quentin Tarantino video, I posted that in early 2018, and people were like, "You spoiled Inglourious Bastards, you fucking cuck." And I'm like, dude, that movie came out in 2009.
I feel like it should kind of be like
understood. Like, if a movie's a decade old, should probably
almost like kind of like statute of limitations on like actual crimes. Like I feel like if it's past like 5 years, depending on if it's like a misdemeanor or some shit, like you just can't do it anymore. Like I feel like after 5 years, something you can't complain about a movie being spoiled.
Oh, trust me, I agree. And I commented, I said like, yeah, I would have thought people would have seen a movie from 11 years ago by now.
Also, like the whole. Wasn't your title of that video about conflicting tones with Tarantino movies? So, like,
yeah,
I mean,
clearly I'm going to go in depth with the movie.
I'm sorry, Reservoir Dogs got spoiled for you 30 years later.
Yeah, so stupid.
Yeah, whatever.
But anyway, so, like, the juxtaposition of some of those scenes in Drive are just absolutely jaw-dropping, and like they're almost like. It's almost like unsettling the way they play out. Like, for example, I think the best example of it is when he's in the elevator. The driver and Irene are in the elevator, and the hitman's there, and and so like the slow move of the camera down the guy's neck, you see like sweat coming out of his face, and you see the gun holster. And then you see the driver, Ryan Gosling, push Irene to the side, and then the light vignettes around the two of them, and they share like a really slow motion, like beautiful kiss, like it would be in a romantic movie. And then that undercuts it with the guy literally getting his head stomped out by Ryan Gosling. So it's like, and a really beautiful soundtrack plays, like the really cool, like atmospheric, beautiful synth pop. Mm-hmm. And like those two things are so diametrically opposed. And
it's a conflicting tone.
It's like my thesis in my Tarantino video.
Yeah.
Like those things are so emotionally shaking that
it makes you
never forget it. Like
rocks you out of your skin. Yeah.
Dude, I remember seeing Drive and like literally like fuck. Like I think from the first time I watched it to when I watched it again was like 2 or 3 years. Like 2011 to like 2013, 2014. And then I got obsessed with that. But like I remember exactly how I felt when that scene came on. And I'm like,
holy shit.
It shakes you.
Yeah, wasn't that in context the last time he actually sees Irene physically in the movie? Because he calls her afterward and just like,
I have to go away for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys were the best thing that ever happened to me. Like, and you kind of think in hindsight, he knew that when he kisses her, like, and you kind of think in the moment, like, why is he doing this? He has to get rid of that guy before he kills both of them. And it's like, oh, he's saying goodbye. Yeah. But you don't realize until afterward, he said goodbye.
And also, I feel like that moment does that absolutely. But also there's a couple interesting things where that moment specifically, so like you'll notice that like in the elevator, it focuses in the back and it has the scorpion in frame, right? Mm-hmm. So there's an old fable from Russia called The Scorpion and the Frog, and they actually reference it in this movie. Like, remember when he calls him and says like, you know the tale about the scorpion and the frog? Your friend didn't make it across the river. So the fable of the scorpion and the frog is, in a meadow, a scorpion walks up to a frog and says, I need you to help me cross this river because the river is very wild and like there's like rapids and stuff. The frog says, but you're a murderer. How can I trust you won't sting me before we get across? The scorpion says, why would I sting you in the middle of the river? That means we both drown. And then the frog's like, good point. So the scorpion gets on his back and the frog swims over, to the river. Right as they're about to get off, the scorpion stings the frog and they both drown in the river. The dying frog says to him, why would you do this? You obviously don't want to die. Why would you sentence us both to death? And the scorpion says, I'm sorry. I can't help it. It's just my nature. So like, if you look at the movie, you can clearly see that the driver, I mean, obviously it's pretty blatant. The scorpion is like a metaphor for his identity. Like the scorpion doesn't necessarily want to kill or doesn't necessarily take pleasure in killing, but it's just who he is. And so with the driver, he's been bred up in this world of violence and grotesque imagery and crime. And like, he knows that, like in that kiss, for example, he kisses Irene and he knows that she's about to see what he truly is, which is a kind-hearted guy who is a criminal and a murderer when you really think about it.
And the dichotomy of just like he has these emotions. He's clearly not full-on psychopath in the sense that he can still love and care about people. He cares about both of them, but he's insane. Like he's insane. He is not a normal person. He is completely willing to kill people. He's completely willing to hurt people. He doesn't really have regard for typical rules of society.
But that point too, like, but you can clearly tell that like he does actually feel love and compassion for people. Like
so there's a conscience there.
Yeah. So like the scene after I believe Standard gets home and he realizes that, oh shit, this happy life that I probably would have had with this woman and the kid is now not a possibility. And so like up until this point, aside from the driving scenes, you haven't really seen him, subsume a role of like psychopathy or like be a criminal or something like that.
Right.
And so he's in the diner and a guy talks in the wrong way and says like, how about this? I'll kick your fucking teeth in if you talk to me again or whatever he says. Like, I feel like that family gave him a solace where like, he's like, I don't necessarily need to be a piece of shit. I can actually have a normal life and be happy with this and find solace in that. And then when it's taken away from him, the mask is off. And then the next scene, the guy talks and says, hey, I got another job. How about this? I'll break your fucking teeth.
It's kind of dichotomous too. Cause like he's still the scorpion, right?
He's still the scorpion. And he's trying to have self-preservation, but at the end of the day, it's his nature and it's who he is.
Yeah. I mean, like say that the husband's not even in the movie. Like, I mean, it wouldn't really be the movie anymore, but like say he's not in those people's lives at all and he could just live a happy life with them. I feel like
it would still come out for sure.
He's still the scorpion. Like it's not going to, nothing lasts forever. Especially if you're a getaway driver that also kills people.
Yeah. but yeah, like I think juxtaposition and dichotomous tones are just, you know, the way that Drive really manifests itself, and it does so beautifully. Like I think in 2011, I think 50/50 came out in 2011 as well.
Yeah,
maybe 2012, but
it was around when I was graduating high school.
But fuck, in that year, 2011, like Drive was my favorite film, like hands down. Like it was like actually like stupidly good. But so let's go through like some cool stuff that like the filmmaker Nicolas Refn does. One of the things I think is really interesting is even in the white knuckled scenes where you have quick cuts, the camera is so fluid and it moves so gently. And like it like, so for example, in the hotel, when you know that redheaded bitch is about to get iced, the camera still pans slowly through the bathroom and like you see the guy with the shotgun and stuff. The camera almost like
glides kind of.
But like in terms of emotions, like the camera almost like offsets how you actually feel about what's on the screen, because like it's genuinely a beautiful looking movie, but you're looking at a guy stomp a person's face in neon light. So it's like you feel like the dichotomy of like the camera moving so slowly but like and beautifully, but the action on screen is so chaotic and so frantic, where it's
just the cinematography is really top notch. Like I always think in terms of how good the movie looks when Blanche, or the redheaded woman, gets like shot and you see it in slow motion of just like the blood and the brains come out and stuff like that. Like I still remember that years later. Like that's a part of the movie that sticks with you, and it's not even because of anything like super emotionally or like even story like even that impactful. It's just the fact that just the actual scene stuck with me more than like why it happened or what was going on.
Yeah. And to that point, Nicolas Refn takes his audience and he makes them see what he wants them to see. For example, in other movies, when you have a gunshot like that, it's a quick cut and it's like, and it's over. He puts all of those grotesque visuals more often than not, either in a very wide shot where you see everything, or in slow motion, so you're forced to actually look at the entire event happening.
Right. Yeah.
But he purposefully tries to maybe not disturb his audience, but to stir them up a little bit or unsettle them.
He wants to get their attention.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
well, I mean, he's already got my attention with the way he frames shots. But like it was so jarring because like even like the last scene when the driver gets stabbed. Excuse me, I'm burping from this drink. Woo.
Oh, your meal replacement.
We'll talk about the client in a little bit. But yeah, like the ending when shut up. With the ending when the driver gets stabbed and like you pan up slowly and see him like look like he's lifeless. That thing was slowed down to like, you know, I don't know, 8 frames per second, where it's like super, super slow-mo, so you believe that he's dead until you see like a little bit of breath and you're like, oh shit, and then he blinks in slow motion. And like that uses slow motion there, and typically I don't like slow motion because like yes, we're in the same room. Yes, we're in the same room.
Hello.
This is my hand
This
right
is
here.
also my hand.
Yeah.
We could like touch. Okay. That's cute.
But what the fuck is I talking? Anyway,
something stabbed. Yeah, stabbed.
Oh
Driver gets stabbed.
yeah. So like,
it's like the Scorpion and the Scorpion in that sense.
True.
Yeah.
But anyway, like he forces his audience to see what he wants them to see and feel what he wants them to feel. Like he's very good at emotional manipulation, because he's able to offset the really beautiful chaotic moments with like just, I don't know, lingering on a moment where longer than maybe he should or I guess is like allowed in cinema. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like it's kind of surprising you can make a gunshot look beautiful almost, but it
Exactly.
it really did.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, kind of reminded me of that Fight Club quote, like I wanted to destroy something beautiful.
That's true.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh my god.
Oh man. But yeah, like his movies are really shaking. Now, I will say I'm not a huge fan of his more recent work. He did The Neon Demon, and he did Only God Forgives. Only God Forgives starred Ryan Gosling as well.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. I was super excited for it. It's a really weird movie, and I
never watched it.
I can't even tell you what it was about, to be honest with you, because it was so fucking weird. It's like a fighting underground, and like this dude is like avenging people, and like
kind of like almost capturing lightning in a bottle twice. You know, it's not realistic to expect that you could, even with the same set of circumstances and actors.
I mean, there's part of that, but also like I feel like Drive lent itself very, very well to that grotesque yet beautiful aesthetic, where this movie is literally about fighting. So like the grotesque visuals are part of the package deal, like off from the offset. So I don't know, like, but I will say though that Drive is his masterpiece, like hands down. Like it's so good.
I do have a question for you about concerning Drive. Not necessarily the cinematography, but I guess like the style, the way the dialogue is put out.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that he, like the director, is ripping off of any other director or any other movie, but do you think there's kind of some influences of No Country for Old Men right there? Because it seems like the minimalism in terms of like the dialogue and only saying what needs to be said, it reminded me so much of that movie and how little they spoke, but when they did speak, it really meant something.
That is really true, actually. That's a good dichotomy because like No Country for Old Men. Actually, the Coen Brothers and Winning Refn are actually pretty similar. Like not in terms of aesthetic, but like technique. They focus on things that actually they want you to focus on. Like, and so that's a really good point with the dialogue. They don't want any dead space in their movies, and Winning Refn's no exception. They want everything airtight, and they only want information to be shared if the characters need to hear it.
Nothing's done by accident.
Exactly,
yeah.
And so that's what I really like about it. So you don't learn about the characters in the movie through exposition. In fact, you probably won't even know their names until the second scene they're in, like Nino or Irene or the
like
kid
you don't even
or
realize
Standard.
who Nino is until you call Nino on the phone. It's like, oh, it's the same dude.
Yeah, exactly. But like you see Nino's Pizzeria in one of the first shots in the movie, so it's like you're familiar with them, but like you're left you're almost like it's almost like Winning Refn actually puts you in the shoes of the driver, because basically you learn information as he learns it.
Yeah,
because
it's very much like you're feeling things the way he's feeling them. It's like, oh, who's that? Oh, like she comes over to the like mechanic shop and then he sees her. It's like, oh,
yeah,
that's cool. We're learning about this while he's figuring it out.
Exactly. And like in that way, the exposition is so light and it's so refreshing, because there are so many fucking movies like that just spoon feed you exposition, and they spoon feed the backstory of everything in the movie, where like the movie comes,
It's like the logger of movies.
Honestly, like
I'm just messing with
you. I know you're messing with me, you fucking weirdo.
Okay.
No, but like, okay, I'll give you an example. Suicide Squad is
I heard it was trash.
You haven't seen it?
No.
Oh my god, it's an absolute abortion of a film. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It's so bad.
Ugh.
Like the exposition in that movie, they go through every character and they explain the backstory. This is Katana. She's my main girl, but she's got a soul sword, the soul sucking sword that can stab people and take the souls. You don't want to fuck with her because in this time she did this. And I'm like, you could have shown that when she stabs somebody and the soul gets sucked in the sword. You could have just like hinted at her doing weird things or whatever.
It's the Suicide Squad. They do bad things.
Always some kind of Suicide Squad. Like
it's like a Suicide Squad.
Wait, are you telling me that the name of the movie is Suicide Squad and they are Suicide Squad?
And they do bad things with bad people.
Oh my god. But okay. But
yeah.
But that movie is textbook. Too much exposition, not enough show. There's no show and all tell. And in this movie, it is so minimal on the tell side, where your reaction to it is predicated on how you see the movie. It's all show.
I'm glad you roped that back into the original discussion of Drive, so we didn't go into a DC sucks narrative.
No, but that's why I brought Suicide Squad up, because like it's like they write down the plot on a note card and hand it to the audience member and say, okay, this is exactly what you have to take away from the movie. No room for interpretation, no room for nuance. But Drive, like it, and again, it's just simple premise of a movie, but it just absolutely grabs the audience.
Yeah,
it
really nails it.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, go on.
I actually no, I was watching this one video from that YouTube channel Trope Anatomy, where they just kind of break down like certain themes or things in like not just one movie but various different movies. And they did a really good job in this one video about like the anatomy of a villain, and not that the driver is really constituted as a villain. He's probably at best an anti-hero. But they were talking about developing a villain and like origins and stuff, and how like a villain doesn't necessarily need this tragic backstory origin to be impactful.
Yeah.
And if we apply it to the driver, the idea of we don't really know how he grew up. We don't know where he came from. We don't know where he was before he got to L.A. They kind of mentioned that he had been in L.A. for like 5 or 6 years working with Shannon in the garage as a mechanic. But that idea that it, like, yeah, we don't really know exactly where he came from or who he was, but doesn't matter. Like, you could...
Yes.
There's no tragic like, I guess not even tragic backstory. It's like, okay, why is he this fucked up? Why is he like a getaway driver? Why is he cool with killing people and kind of being a mild sociopath? Like, what was his upbringing? I think it's probably in the sense of the minimalism or like the lack of exposition, which kind of reminded me of this point. It's probably for the best that that's left up to the viewer's interpretation because there is no version of that that's really like, oh wow, that's so cool, satisfactory. He was like kind of abused as a kid or some shit like that. Like
exactly.
I'm just like proposing something, but it doesn't matter what his backstory was. All that matters for the sake of the movie, which is minimalist and doesn't really want to spoon feed you anything, is this is who he is, and you're learning about him in the same way he's learning about the world.
Exactly.
Everyone is just the movie is a learning experience, and everyone is just figuring out what's going on as you watch it. To try to like almost cheat that, not that they ever will because it's a self-contained movie, would almost just like it's diametrically opposed to the entire like idea of what the movie's based on.
I totally agree, and like, you know, to that point, I think like you said, the lack of backstory and the lack of context
Adds
and premises,
intrigue,
not only the intrigue, but also it changes your viewing of the movie because, you know, if you really believe that this guy is a psychopath and like he's just doing this out of the goodness of his heart this one time, or he's a guy that's been thrust into a world he doesn't understand. It's all predicated on how you actually view the driver because the backstory that you made up for the guy, is it because he's a criminal but he's trying to get out of the business and one last score is going to get him out of there, or it's because he loves this woman genuinely and he's willing to do whatever it takes to actually like, you know, have her survive and have her family thrive. So like the lack of premises, like, and like people always say this is a lazy thing in writing. I think it's a genius thing in writing because the performance is so good from Ryan Gosling, and like that really sells the whole premise of the movie, just being you know, more ambiguous and more vague, but being completely emotionally impactful. It's
yeah, he's incredible in the movie.
He really honestly
like,
is.
Yeah, I think he doesn't, like we talked about this before, he doesn't get enough credit for how good he is in this movie.
And if any other actor did that, or like maybe
who else could have pulled this off?
Well, so like, let's back up a little bit. Like, if you look at his performance objectively, you can look at it and say, okay, it's wooden or whatever, like when he doesn't really show emotions. But the thing I think is so impactful is after the whole thing blows up in their faces, after the whole thing goes fucked, and after basically the mob and the Italians and the Jewish people are after the driver and Shannon, you finally see him have his breaking point where he's driving and you see like his eyes well up and he just like puts his head in his hands. Like, that was such a fucking beautiful moment because the entire time, it's not like he's like been a person for the movie. He's like
he's a real human being.
He's a real hero. But like he's
and a real hero.
He has like a mask on, and it's like you assume that, okay, this guy's no emotions. He's like a fucking idiot. He's a honestly genius criminal and a great getaway driver. But like he actually feels emotion, and like the sense of arrival that you get from that is essentially like it's jarring and it's jaw dropping. It was just amazing.
Yeah, no, he kills it. And also, like, shout out to Vonzi in the comments, really going ham right there.
What, you went ham?
Yeah, no, like the user Vonzi is like commenting a shit ton. Like, we gotta give a shout out.
Oh no, Vonzi's my boy, dude. We act on Twitter like all the time.
Okay.
What's up, my dude? How you doing?
Shout out Vonzi.
Shout out Vonzi.
But back to Gosling the Great.
Yeah, he's great in the movie, and like.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people like will chalk up like wooden performances to like the actor either not giving a shit or not being invested in the role. But in that role, it is so perfect that it makes so much sense.
Devil's advocate, I don't think did he actually get criticized at the time for having like a wooden performance? Because I feel like anyone that watches it could kind of know that he is like meant to be that way.
But I'm saying like in another kind of movie or something like that, like he I don't know. In another movie and another kind of premise, maybe that kind of performance wouldn't really work. But in this movie, it makes so much sense because he's supposed to be subdued and on the surface be cool and collected.
It's also minimalist, and like
exactly.
the whole movie's minimalist. So like the idea that someone's going to be gregarious, like I guess Nino is kind of gregarious, but like even by the movie standards, it's not like he has like long monologues. He's not fucking Romeo over here. But
But even if he didn't have like a massive monologues, the fact that his emotions only come out in like the most dire situations where like he's like, holy shit, I'm about to get killed.
I just ripped off the mop. Yeah.
It's crazy. And I gotta say, as a funny point, so I have a very big head. I'm a Greek person, and we have big heads by trade.
Stereotyping.
I'm staring at myself, man. I'm self-deprecating.
Okay.
But Ron Perlman has a bigger head than I do. That's pretty. It's a pretty astounding feat.
Is he Greek?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
He just has a massive skull.
I always just knew him as the dude from Sons of Anarchy that kind of just
and Hellboy.
But like basically, like if you want to typecast a scumbag, you got Ron Perlman in your back pocket.
Because he has like those big ass teeth and that shit eating grin.
I mean, he's the Michael Cera of typecasting scumbags, except if Michael Cera was like a scumbag.
Yeah, well, he's kind of a scumbag in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, though.
Michael Cera, you mean?
Yeah, Michael Cera.
Yeah, but like Michael Cera is like the poster child of being typecast as like awkward dude.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess I'm awkward. Everyone would know.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, and also David Badlola. I'm sorry, Badiola. Sorry about that. What's up, ma'am? He commented, Albert Brooks gave a fucking great performance too in that movie. Like, and Drivey was great as like that really subdued, like psychopathic, like fucking criminal boss.
Wait, was he Bernie?
Yeah, he was Bernie.
Okay.
He
Bernie's
was
the man.
He was fantastic, and honestly,
he's the second Scorpion. They try to stab each other, except one of them wins.
Exactly, and also, it's kind of funny to imagine the dad from Finding Nemo stabbing somebody with a fucking shaving razor.
I mean, I guess it was hard to imagine Malcolm in the Middle dad, and then he becomes Walter White, and then he becomes Shannon.
Yeah, exactly. A crippled, I
was gonna say like, well, Shannon's not that badass. He's just kind of running an operation, and then he has Ryan Gosling to like drive him around.
Yeah, he's a schemer. He's like, you pay me this money, I'll get the driver for you and stuff.
Well, I mean, remember what Heath Ledger as the Joker said? Like, when you're a schemer, you look where that got you.
And I'm not a schemer. I try to show the schemers how pathetic their attempts to control things really are.
My buddy tried to say that like The Dark Knight is aging poorly, not even because of the movie itself. No. Hear me out. I thought he was bullshitting, and I still think he's wrong. He thinks the movie itself is aging poorly for reasons that have nothing to do with the movie itself.
Example. Give me an example.
Okay, because of the way the Joker talks, because of the way Heath Ledger did it, led to a bunch of memes and like random incels on the internet talking like the Joker, which is just making
it's all part of the plan.
That's actually pretty good. But like
I do good impressions, this. But go on. Sorry. Go.
Pretty good. But like basically they're memeing the Joker to the point that like it gets so cringeworthy that people like associate it more with the cringe than they do with like Heath Ledger's performance. So they look back on it as like, oh, it's like the memes on the internet. No, and I don't agree with this because I still think it's a fucking amazing movie, but like I kind of can see where he's coming from if you're like deep in the internet and you just see all these random cringeworthy people.
But number one, that has to do with the viewer's perception, and number two, that would be like me going back to Infinity War after I sucked his dick in my video essay. Quick plug, go watch that movie. Thank you.
Thanos did nothing wrong.
Yeah, but that'd be like me watching that movie again and then thinking that Thanos is a shitty villain because the Ant-Man anus memes.
Yeah, I mean, and to clarify, The Dark Knight's an amazing movie and it's aged perfectly. And I think I watched clips of it like a week ago, and I still think it's
the
awesome.
Interrogation scene is one of the best scenes in movies, hands down.
It is. It really is. And like I don't agree with this concept that, because of these external memes, it's aged poorly. However, it is interesting that like Heath Ledger led to like all these incels having these external memes, having all these memes about just like talking like the Joker or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, one of the memes is like, this is actually pretty funny. When it's like you walk into like your bedroom and your wife has 3 other guys in the room with her. It's all part of the plan.
Yeah, nobody panics because it's all part of the plan. But if I say one little mayor will die.
If I say one little old gangbang will happen, well, everyone loses their minds.
that conversation, I guess, tangent, that conversation between the Joker and Harvey Dent, like, that sticks with, talk about things that stick with you. That fucking sticks with you.
Yeah, exactly. Like the manipulation the Joker imparts onto Harvey where it's like, he knows that, the Joker knows that he took away the only thing that made him happy in the world. Not only his identity, but the one he loves. And so when he proposes the idea of chaos being a balanced and fair force in the universe.
Yeah, here's the thing about chaos. It's fair.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Which, god damn, it's a fucking good line. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I feel like that was peak Christopher and Jonathan Nolan.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, it was so good.
But I mean, I do still love Christopher Nolan. Like, you know,
I mean, no, he hasn't. It's not like he's terrible now. It's just like
that was still clever, most clever scripts like that they've ever written by far.
I mean, yeah, and also like, as great as Christian Bale was and is as an actor, I don't think maybe I'm being hyperbolic, but like how many better performances can you think of than Heath Ledger as the Joker? And like in any movie, just like even in movies that win Oscars, like and stuff like that. Like how do you even quantify
now,
that? Like,
I do think that there's like a bit of subjective reasoning there where it's like, you know, because people are so predicated on Heath Ledger's amazing performance, but it's amazing.
It's iconic. Yeah,
it's absolutely iconic. But I think it's also predicated in the fact that you maybe like a more subdued performance. You maybe like, you know, a even more bombastic performance. But I will say though, like when you think about roles that the character disappeared behind, I can't really think of that many. But I'm not saying this is a better performance, but I will say another performance that I think the actor disappears behind and like the role is their identity. You ever seen Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal in it?
No, I never saw that one.
That movie is fucked. So you know the premise of it? Basically, it's a guy who's legitimately a sociopath. Like,
okay,
and but like he cannot relate to anybody, and the only emotion that he feels is anger, disgust, and frustration. Right? It's all negative shit. And he becomes basically a night crawler, which is someone who films accidents in LA, like car accidents, break-ins, like, you know, the first responders with cameras and stuff.
Right.
And he does the most fucked up shit and the most terrible shit to get ahead in this industry, which is cutthroat. And he throws people under the bus. He does some really other fucked up shit. I won't spoil it for you. You have to watch it. It's incredible. But like in that performance, I don't see Jake Gyllenhaal. I see that dude. And,
yeah.
And with the Joker, like obviously with makeup and costume aside, like you don't see Heath Ledger. Like you see the Joker.
I think another example of like an amazing performance that it's not necessarily like as bombastic or as like as psychopathic as the Joker. It's like Daniel Plainview and Daniel Day-Lewis as Daniel Plainview and There Will Be Blood. Like if you want to talk about a guy who totally threw himself into the role of an oil magnate trying to get ahead and then totally devoting his life to power, taking
Eli, you boy.
You're a bastard in a basket.
A bastard in a basket. A bastard in a basket.
Oh my God. I drink your milkshake.
I'm sorry. I got a new mixer and it has effects. I've been trying to fucking.
God, you're seriously the afterbirth.
If you have a milkshake, and I have a milkshake, and I have a straw right here, it's a straw. And my straw reaches across the room and starts to drink your milkshake. I drink your milkshake. I drink it.
You are the afterbirth. No, but like
we can't hang out together. We get too easily distracted.
Yeah, it just gets too stupid. We're not even talking about Drive anymore. But I do want to finish out this thought. Like, I don't think you can, in the same way that I don't think you can get much better than Heath Ledger as the Joker. I don't think you can get much better than Daniel Plainview as. Than Daniel Day-Lewis as Daniel Plainview. Like, he threw himself into that role. He was corrupt. He's a people-hating, power-hungry. He took on a kid because he thought it would make him look more family friendly. Because he thought it would make him look like a family-owned business. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, that's a sociopath. That's a modern-day sociopath. And then at the end of it, he kills Eli by like beating the shit out of him with a bowling pin, and then says, "I'm finished." Like, who? How the fuck do you write that? Like, I don't know how you
exactly.
How do you wake up one day and be like, you know, I'm gonna have him beat the shit out of him with a bowling pin and then just say how he's finished.
Yeah, P.T. Anderson's a really fucked up director, but he's so good. But actually, on that last scene, like what I took from that is like in the entire film, there's this kind of battle between religious sentiment and capitalism, like, you know, like unrestricted capitalism. And I feel like they're always at odds with each other because, like, in reverse shots, Paul Dano and Daniel Day-Lewis are, like, you know, opposites, like in Shadow and Darkness and stuff.
Yeah, they're amazing.
It's so good. The cinematography in that movie is so good. But, like, at the end of the
movie... For totally different reasons.
Oh, yeah. But like, the end of the movie when greed and capitalistic behavior wins...
Oh, shit, TP's talking to us.
Wait, Tyler Pearson? Oh,
Tyler Pearson's on! Oh, my God!
Everyone, I need you all to say hi to Tyler in the chat.
Hi, Tyler. We love you.
Hi, Tyler. We love you.
We love you like a 3,000.
Fuck. that just shook me. I got drunk. Oops.
Wait, TP, where are you right now?
Don't say where you are. Don't dox yourself, please.
Oh, shit. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize this is actually internet.
Jason, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm stupid.
Hey, TP is smarter than that. He's not going to dox himself.
Nah, TP's
the man.
Yeah, TP is the man.
Yeah, TP is absolutely crushing life. He's earning and burning, snapping necks and cashing checks.
He's like, he's not the friend we deserve, but he's the one we need right now.
Yeah, I agree. No, you didn't dox yourself, TP.
You didn't. No. You're better than us. Yeah. I probably would have doxed myself because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which I'm trying to like be like, yo, bro, it's cool a little bit.
Okay.
What the fuck are we even talking about?
Fuck. What were we? Something. Daniel Plainview. Something.
Yeah. So like, but the fact that the capitalistic greedy mind, I'm minimizing the chat. You're fucking.
I'm just curious.
Focus on it's me. Focus.
I can listen to you.
Greedy lie, you boy.
You're seriously the afterbirth right now.
Dude, you were the fucking placenta, my boy.
Nice. In case we fist bumped. If you can't see it.
No, they can see my hands.
Oh yeah, I forgot that we're on camera. Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, like the fact that the capitalistic greedy framework beats out the corrupt establishment of the church, I feel like that has some kind of political statement for today, where it's like
what capitalism beats religion or separation of church and state.
Well, that, but also like the fact that like if we let monsters like this control aspects of society, then everything else, no matter how powerful, how sentimental, will fall. Which is like, I think that's interesting because, I mean, that Paul Dano character, like with the exception of the end of it when he realizes that he's a false prophet and God, I am a false prophet and God is a superstition. that
was actually amazing.
It was so good.
Like because he didn't even care that he was a pious person. He didn't care that he was religious. He wanted power. He doesn't give it. He just wanted to see him like tapped. He wanted to see him squirm. He was like, yeah just tell me how much you suck. Just do it over and over again.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy just wants more than just to like validate his own opinions. This guy just wants other people to bend to his will.
Yeah.
Just like how HW is a bastard in a basket.
A bastard in a basket. My boy HW. I'm an oil man. You'll agree.
That's actually the part of that movie that I never really like kind of got all the way at, because like he was clearly disturbed by the fact that HW became deaf, yet he also called him a bastard in a basket and was like, oh, kind of like sent him off to like deaf kid school and was kind of basically like, oh, whatever, I don't know what to do with this kid anymore. So like, did he care? Did he ever care?
No, of course not.
He probably didn't. Yeah.
No, and like I feel like in any sense he cared in the sense that like lineage or like legacy is probably the only thing he cared about, because like with his brother, like all he cared about was like, legacy and family and like bonding, not because he like loves them, but because he wants his ego and his persona to live on forever.
Also like with
more fucked up.
Also with the fake brother stuff, like when he told that story just to deliberately put him on his ass to be like,
I see the worst in people.
No, like how that story wasn't actually true, and then how the guy responded as if it was a true story, and then his response like, oh yeah, if I went back to that place now, I bet it'd make me sick. And I was just thinking, it's like, even the first time I saw that, which was like around high schoolish, that really stuck with me. And then watching it again, I was like, oh, this guy's a fucking misanthrope.
Yeah, it's like actually, and that like it's like, yeah, around the peach tree, and the guy's like, what? Around the peach tree, because like he thought like it grew up with him. And then like he's like, oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, the peach tree. Yeah. Where's your where do you keep the money, by the way? Is it under the peach tree?
Exactly. And also,
where's your milkshake?
In the reaction shot from Daniel Plainview, you see him like, it's like,
what?
And like he's like visibly shaken. And the next scene he ices him, which is, whew. That movie's so good. Fuck.
Yeah, if you haven't watched There Will Be Blood, you probably should be watching it. Also, if you feel spoiled about us talking about There Will Be Blood, it's been like 15 years. Get over it.
07, right? That came out. 07, 06.
What was it? Was it?
It was the same year as Juno.
Juno was a really good movie.
It was good.
Yeah, actually, it was. What does Ellen Page do these days?
I think she's like more of like a human rights activist now more than an actor.
I can respect that.
No,
but
sure.
I haven't I actually thought about it, because like she was in this like shitty video game. It was like Beyond Two Souls.
Yes,
yeah, Beyond
yes.
Two Souls. The one, David Cage. He's this. Okay. He like does these cinematic video games like Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain, the one that was on the PS3. Or something.
Like the delayed choice games where it's
I didn't look into him that much. I'm convinced he's this dude that just wanted to be a movie maker and then couldn't do it and then became like a video game movie maker. So basically, he makes movies that are in video games, but for the most part, they get reviewed poorly either because of shitty gameplay or because of shitty story or both.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I was like, she was in that video game, and then I was like, has she been in movies since then?
Again, I think like she's almost like Emma Watson now, where Emma Watson is more of a human rights activist than like she is like a movie star. I mean, she's still in stuff, obviously, but like, I mean, she does. I mean, I think Emma Watson gave a speech to the UN a couple years ago or something like that.
Was that
like,
the he for she thing?
It might have been. I forget. Yeah. But yeah, like some of those actors kind of ancillarily bounce between movies, but they also like, do like other shit. I mean, Leo DiCaprio is one of the biggest climate change advocates. That's I mean, working in Hollywood today for sure, which is good because
I mean, those are totally like noble and good things that they're doing.
I mean, yeah, you think like
yeah. I mean, using your money to actually have a now that knowing you have a platform and then using it for things that are bigger than you. That's pretty awesome.
Exactly. And like, I mean, as a person whose project is motivated by anthropogenic influence in the atmosphere, I'm glad people actually give a shit about it.
Give us an elevator pitch about your research. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Nah, I don't want to join any more hexagons. I've drawn too many today.
Yeah, I like when I was in organic chemistry as a sophomore, I realized how good not good even, just how quick I was at drawing hexagons. And now I think a couple weeks ago I tried to draw a hexagon once, and I was like, "Wow, I suck at this now." I don't think about carbon anymore.
It was like Salvador Dali. It was like fucking like melting on one side of it.
You just like I could draw a hexagon. It's actually like a deformed pentagon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when the clocks like drip over the side and shit. It's kind of a circle, but it's also kind of an oval. Yeah.
Yeah, and then some people like forget to draw the circle in the middle of the hexagon to realize that it's benzene and not just cyclohexane. I'm sorry, non-chemistry people. I apologize. Hee.
Oh, chem memes, classic. Stop clapping in the microphone, you weirdo. Golf clap.
So have we got any good comments since? Because you nerfed me from the
well, yeah, because you were let's see. Good night. I'll watch this later. Waiting for you guys to talk about the elevator scene. Oh yeah, so we talked about that earlier, but basically, y'all spoiled the movie for me. I haven't heard of it. Okay.
Wait, what movie has he not even heard of? Have they not even heard of?
Okay, if you're talking about Drive is in the goddamn title of this fucking video.
No, I don't think it was Drive. We were talking about other movies. Wait, is he talking?
There Will Be Blood is even older than Drive.
Yeah, if you haven't watched There Will Be Blood at this point, that's your fault.
Yeah, like fuck. Vonzi, I love you, man, but like Jesus Christ, like it's a movie that came out 15 years ago.
Vonzi, sit down and watch There Will Be Blood.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Honestly, even if like, we spoil the ending for you, it's not really a spoiler because like the entire journey to that point is like really.
If we think about it philosophically, we drank his milkshake.
Oh, he's 15. Okay, now I can kind of relate to you, but damn it. He brings up a good point.
Well, actually, it doesn't matter. Go back and watch movies. Go back and watch them. They're really great.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I don't feel bad for you. This is an opportunity.
It is. Brush up in your history. What movies are coming out soon that you're like excited for? I mean, we talked about Drive ad nauseum. We don't have to talk about that too much, but we talked about There Will Be Blood, like old films. What about upcoming films that you want to say?
Honestly, I haven't really been keeping too much track. I feel like I'm. Yeah, but I mean, I actually want to watch the next like Spider-Man movie from the MCU, but
yeah,
that's not like an example of like high cinema.
Yeah, well,
like, what movies do you want to watch soon, Johnny?
I want to see the new Tarantino movie coming out in July. That's going to be fucking flames.
What's it called?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I hope it's good.
It's gonna be amazing. It's two of the last remaining movie stars, like real leading men, and they're playing in dual leads together, like Brad Pitt and Leo DiCaprio. Like that is so awesome. I can't wait to see that. And the whole cast is ridiculous. They have James Marsden, they have Al Pacino, Margot Robbie. Like the entire cast is fucking stacked, and I just can't wait to see it.
I still miss Inglourious. Like I still like. I love watching Inglourious Bastards even now. Like even on rewatches.
Dude, that movie is so There's not a thing wrong with it, in my opinion. Like, there's not a fucking thing wrong with it. It's so good.
Like, even just the intro where
that is the best intro scene of any movie fucking ever. Like, the writing in that scene is
just how Margot Robbie's character is like how Shoshana is like under the thing while like Christopher Waltz is looking for it.
That's a Melanie Laurent, not a Margot Robbie. Melanie Laurent's the actress, but Shoshana's the character. You said Margot Robbie.
Oh yeah, I'm stupid. Yeah, no,
that's all good.
I remembered her. I remember her actor name.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, like the thing I think is so fucking funny about that scene. So like you can tell halfway through the scene that he knows that they're under the fucking floorboards. Like he just knows.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, and then like that line where it's like, "I'm here today because it occurs."
About sending a message.
No, but like he says, it occurs to me because I am aware of the tremendous feats that human beings can do once they abandon their dignity. And he's like, "Can I smoke my pipe as well?" After he's smoking his pipe. And so, like, he's a small little, like, one-hitter pipe for his pipe tobacco. Christoph Waltz pulls out the biggest goddamn pipe I've ever seen, which is, like, it accomplishes, like, 3 things. 1, it's an allude to Sherlock Holmes and, like, the detective thing. 2, it's an obvious kind of phallic sexual reference. It's like, how mine's bigger than yours. And 3 is like, I got you, motherfucker. Like, I know I'm onto your fucking scheme.
Yeah, it's like, yo, you think I'm stupid? I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that scene, honestly, like it builds tension in the most quiet and subdued way. And it makes it so much more horrifying when, like, they zoom in his face, like, "You're sheltering any of the state, are you not?" And then they're like, "Yes."
Yeah, and he just like you just can see it from his eyes that he's like kind of okaying what's about to happen.
Exactly.
And I don't know, like also Brad Pitt's character Aldo, just like
so good.
Even the comedic stuff is actually what makes him amazing. Like in the later parts of the movie where he pretends to be this Italian dude and he keeps saying over and over again, like,
"Arrivederci,
grazie,
buongiorno,
grazie,
correcto."
Like I don't know, like
Gorlami.
I already love Brad Pitt in Fight Club and various other, and like Benjamin Button and various other movies. I mean, I think Benjamin Button's actually underrated, but
it's so underrated.
Like I don't think people give that movie enough credit after it came out. But like, he's such a good actor. But that was just like his comedic timing and just like the way he delivered those lines. I was like dying. That was so good.
Funny.
Yeah.
Like I also love the ending of that movie. Okay. If you have not seen Glorious Bastards, we are going to spoil the ending for you, okay? Spoilers. Wait, hold on, here we go.
This
Spoilers. Spoilers.
This goes back to what I was saying about statute of limitations. It's been like 5 years. You can...
Glorious Bastards? Much longer than that. It's been 2009. It's been 10 years.
No, I'm saying like it's been over 5 years. If you haven't seen a movie that's like at least 5 years old, that's on you.
It's very true.
And if you like to watch movies.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, the ending scene when he carves that fucking insignia, the Nazi symbol, like into his face, and then like you're like,
grazie,
and like that ending, it's like, something, Yudovich? I think it's my masterpiece, and that's one that's hilarious, and 2, that's almost like Tarantino admitting like, yeah, I made a pretty fucking good movie, didn't I?
I mean, it also just kind of harkens back to like, as good of a storyteller or like as good of a point maker as he can be. With Tarantino, it's always about, he's known specifically in his movies for how his cinematography and just how visual his stuff is. Like the way blood or people get shot and you see blood in movies.
Yeah,
like,
it's cartoonish.
Yeah, it's like cartoonish, but it's also uniquely Quentin Tarantino. Like in Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs and Inglourious Basterds and Django Unchained, like the blood is all the same way. And it's not quite like that in like, I mean, other movies have cartoonish blood too, but it's not quite like that in any other movie. And that's just an example of just like, when you watch a Tarantino movie, you don't even have to know that he was the director. But if you see his tropes and you see the things he does in the movies, you know that it's him.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah, for sure.
And like my friend pointed this out once, and it's actually like a salient point. That's so fucking hard to do.
Oh yeah.
As a film director, to like just be known from your movies just by the way that it looks.
Yeah.
We talk about Drive and like a movie that is not only powered by a story, but also powered by its like incredible visual, like audio visual experience. But just like the fact that Tarantino can do that for every movie that he comes out with, the fact that they're also disparate in what they're actually about, that's incredible.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I watched an interview with him with there's a movie reviewer named Jake Hamilton, where basically like he actually asks very good questions. You should look him up if you get a chance. He's very good interviews. But
yeah,
he was talking to Tarantino, and he said, like, I was a kid, and I was like probably 7 or 8 when I watched Inglourious Basterds the first time, and I fell in love with this movie. But then I watched more of your stuff. I watched Jackie Brown. I watched Pulp Fiction. I watched some of the stuff you actually wrote for other movies, like Natural Born Killers and 4 Rooms, and all these other things that he had some like hand in that are so distinctly Tarantino, be it the dialogue, be it the visuals, or whatever. And then he said, I could have started with any one of your movies, and no matter what I picked out, I would probably love it. And so like Tarantino responded and said, like, that's the way I make my movies, because I want my legacy to be like, I want every movie I make to be not only watchable, but come from the same place as I've always come from my first movie. So it's like he has the same aesthetic. And even though, he goes from a period piece, exploitation period piece to, a Western set, 10 years after the Civil War.
To like almost like a faux samurai movie in Kill Bill.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's the thing I like about him. Tarantino is so referential with his movies because, like, you can tell he just loves cinema. Like, it's his favorite thing in the entire world. And he pays homage to all of these different genres and all these different tropes. But he does it in a way that it is so goddamn original. Like, like the balance he does is just stunning, really.
Is he inspired by movies he like is watching it around the time, or like how does he change his themes so like on a dime?
I mean, like, well, one, I'm pretty sure he has an eidetic memory because like he legitimately in an interview he brings up 7 or 8 films in the exact same sentence when talking about a point in his movie, and I feel like he's such a lover of cinema that I think he just crafts movies based on like maybe what he watched in the time, but also the way his process works is like he starts with the page and he says like, what do I want to write? And he just invents a character in his head and he says, okay, who's this person talking to? This person. What is this person's backstory? And he lets like the characters do the talking, and then he says like at the end of it, I kind of have my genre piece based on like the sentiments of the characters, which is like, it's so interesting because like people are like, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna write murder mystery, and like everything is a vehicle for that. And with Tarantino, it's the complete opposite.
I mean, with Tarantino, it's like I'll create a bunch of characters, and at least one of them has to be Samuel L. Jackson in every movie.
Dude, Sam Jackson kills it. The only one he's not in is Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah,
it's the only one.
But I'm trying, Ringo. I'm trying to
be
the shepherd.
To be the shepherd.
It's actually, it's amazing.
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
English, motherfucker, do you speak?
I love that scene so much.
So
I went out to dinner with a family friend of mine, and so he's like a rich like dude, really generous guy, but like
that's a great way to introduce him.
But seriously, like the nicest, most generous guy in the entire world, super smart, but like
also rich.
Yeah, but like he's a really hard worker and stuff, but also his parents were like very rich too, like came from money. But I'm not casting judgment on that. What I'm saying is he plays in celebrity golf tournaments, and he's also really, really good at golf.
Oh no shit.
So he got paired with Sam Jackson for a golf round, and they were walking to the next hole, and he said like, I'm probably gonna slap you for this, can you please do Ezekiel 25:17? He did it for him and live.
He did? That's amazing. I also think like in relation to our off-air conversation earlier, Samuel L. Jackson be up there and people I'd want to get a beer with, and like celebrities I want to get a beer with.
Absolutely. I would love to get tanked with Sam Jackson like on tequila and just see what happens.
Yeah, I feel like he would also be one of those guys that would have tons of stories about, and this guy like fucking went crazy on set. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Like, honestly, because like he would spill the tea in a heartbeat, like for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been about an hour. I don't want to take up too much of your time, and your beer's done. So
actually, it actually coincidentally finished with. I can probably sip those.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah. Well, that was impressive. Anyway, Jason Corey, he'll be back on soon.
At some point, for sure.
Yeah, want to say goodbye to people?
Goodbye, people.
Goodbye.
Thanks for watching.
Lone Chemist Podcast, episode 32. Peace the F out.
Goodbye, people.
Bye.